Without this, you will fail. Yes, without this one thing, you will fail in life. And what is that one thing? We will get to it right after you hit that like button and subscribe. Be sure to hit that notification bell so you know when we got a video coming out. I'm putting out a video every couple days right now, so be sure to set that up. Join me on Instagram at marksinspiration, or check out my books on Amazon, Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels, and The Power is Within. And I have another book I've been writing on for quite some time. I'm about halfway through it. I haven't worked on it for a while, but I'll get to it soon. All right, without this, you will fail. And I want to thank you to my 1,637 subscribers. And Joseph L. came on tonight, and he said he was surprised that I talked to him when he left messages in the chat. Well, don't be surprised. If any of you want to do a message in the live chat, and if we can get to it, we don't have that many right now, I'd be glad to answer your questions or speak with you. It helps the show go good. I like to communicate with you guys because I know if you're following me, you want more out of life than just the normal. You are not one of the masses. If you were, you wouldn't be listening to me. I would annoy the hell out of you because I've never been a complier. I've never followed the masses. I was always different, always wanted to be different. I didn't want to do everything everybody else did. And I know if you're subscribing to me, you are the same mind as myself. So thank you for being here. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining me on this journey in life. All right, let's go. Without this, you will fail. Without what, you may ask? Written goals. Less than, is it 1%? I think it's less than 1% of the population has written goals. And I'm going to give you one example of how written goals work. Now, I did not feel like, I didn't feel like doing a podcast tonight. And because I did the show today, The Dragon Ship, and they got a strike. I got a warning because of some Wikipedia thing we put in there. I don't know, the guidelines on YouTube are so vague, sometimes it's really hard to tell. I couldn't see anything wrong with it, but anyway, I got a warning. So that kind of sucked. That knocked me down a little bit. But when I was downstairs, I don't know if it was about 10 till 6, and we do the podcast at 6. It was either my son or my daughter asked me if we were going to do the podcast. I said, well, what are we going to talk about? What topic? Well, let's talk about Jake Paul versus Andrew Tate. I said, okay, you want to do it? And he said, sure. The reason I bring it up is when you have a written goal, things will happen just like that. Now you may say, well, they were down there, it's just a normal thing. It's not a normal thing because that's all I needed was just a little push to get me to go ahead and have the show. I could have passed it this time. We do a show every Saturday, and I've been doing it for, well, it's coming up on 2 years, probably, soon. But when you have a written goal, people, places, circumstances, situations conform themselves to help you. They give you opportunities to achieve your goal. But most people don't look at it that way, but also they call them bridges of incidences. When you have a written goal and you look at it every day, even when you don't feel like it, when you see there's no way that it can come to pass, bridges of incidences will occur in your life. Opportunities to move you closer to the goal. Now, of course, you can reject those opportunities. I could have just told my daughter, I don't want to do it tonight. We'll just pass on it. Doesn't make any difference. But I didn't. I knew that was my cue to go ahead and do the live stream tonight. And we did. And a pretty good time, too. We had a pretty good talk. Had a few people commenting in the comments section. Joseph L., RP Thor came, and let me see. I make music. So we appreciate you guys as well as all the rest of my subscribers. I'm glad you're here. I said that before, I'll say it again. But it's very important that you write your goals down. Maybe you're thinking, I don't know what I want. I'm not just that sure about it. Well, Just think about it and write something down and head off in that direction. Review that goal every day and visualize and emotionalize yourself in your mental picture having already achieved that goal. And this will bring you to the goal. You will have opportunities, as I said. Now, the only thing that will stop you is fear and doubt. If there is a devil, it should be fear and doubt, because that will stop you from achieving your goal. You'll have an opportunity come up that will move you closer to your goal, and you'll think, well, I don't know if I want to do that or not. You're not sure how it's going to work out. Maybe you don't even see how it can get you closer to your goal. Or maybe you don't think it's the correct way or the correct path to your goal. But you need to do it anyway. Because I'm telling you, when you have that written goal down, it sets forces into action, universal forces, God's forces, whatever you call it, that will move you towards that. Things start happening for you. But most people go through life not knowing where they're going and then wondering why they never got there. Well, they never got there because they didn't know where they were going. Even if you don't get to where you want to go, you will get to somewhere better as long as you proceed, as long as you trudge the road of happy destiny. And sometimes it is trudging. I've been making a video almost every day for, 2.5 years. It takes time. I don't always feel like making a video. I don't always feel like doing the podcast. I don't always feel like making a thumbnail and posting this and doing this and putting the hashtags on there. It really doesn't make a difference. But I still have a vision of what I desire from what I'm doing here. And you guys are included in my vision. If you weren't watching, I might have given up a long time ago. But steadily we are growing. A few people every day. And we will become a powerful force, and us working together, I can help you to achieve your goals. I can't do your push-ups for you, but I can tell you how it's done. Now, I don't have the success of some of these superstars like Elon Musk or, let me see who else, maybe Jake Paul or Andrew Tate, but success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. So if you are progressing towards a worthy goal or ideal, you are a success today. Success is not so much when you reach the destination. We're always going to have a new destination. And as I mentioned, those other people like Jake Paul, Andrew Tate, Elon Musk, and many others, don't compare yourself to them, because you never know what's going on inside of those people. You don't know what their life is really like. Are they happy? Are they content? Do they feel successful? Are they fulfilled? You don't know whether they are or not. So many times we compare ourselves to the people that has the money, the cars, this, that, the women, when in reality, that may not be success to you. Sure, we all think it is, or most of us do, but you may find out if you get that, or if you get something else, that's what you really wanted. And if you got exactly what they had, you may not be fulfilled with that. You may not be happy with that. Everybody's different, just like everybody's fingerprint is different. Everybody's idea of success is different. Everybody's way of fulfillment is different. We need, and I need to also, accept ourselves and the successes we have every day. Be grateful for what you have today. Gratitude is a magnet. When you're grateful for what you have, more will be brought to you. There's a story about a widow in the Bible. I'm not a religious guy, but there's a lot of great wisdom in the Bible. And she had 3 drops of oil in her vessels, and they used the oil to light the lamps and maybe to cook on, I'm not sure. And the prophet came by, and of course she was a widow, which means she had no one to help her. And the prophet says, "What do you have?" And she says, "I have 3 drops of oil." And the prophet said, "Bring more vessels." And they filled the vessels up to overflowing with oil, because she focused on what she had. He didn't ask her, "What don't you have?" He said, "What do you have?" When you focus on what you have, you get more. It's a psychological fact that whatever you focus on in your life grows. What are you complaining about? Whatever you complain about, you bring about. So remember that the next time you want to complain. Now, that's been a character defect of mine, complaining. I've asked God to remove that from me. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But whatever you want, talk about what you desire to have as if it's already here. And now that may seem silly to you. It may seem like you're lying to yourself. But when you think about your complaints, how do you know that everything is exactly as you think it is when you're complaining? You don't. That can just as easily be a lie. It's so easy to focus on lack of money, lack of love, lack of friendship, lack of whatever. And that's what the news media and is pushed on us every day. But it takes courage, it takes effort to focus on what you want, what you desire, as if you already have it. And it almost seems silly doing it because we're not raised in a society that teaches that pushes that actually admires and lifts that up. For example, if you're out somewhere in a long line waiting, and it's taking a long time with many other people, if you start talking about how great your day is, how you like to be in lines because you like to meet people, and you're just really grateful that you got to stand there in that line for an hour or two, people are going to think you're a little bit strange, because it is strange compared to the norm of society. But in contrast to that, start complaining about how long the line is, how they need more people working there, how they're understaffed, and you'll get probably quite a few people to join in on the conversation with you, because that's the normal, natural thing. It's the supernatural, or the super metaphysical, if you like, thing to talk about what you like as if you already have it. I remember I was in an immigration line one time going to, was it Mexico maybe? And that line was long. And I wanted to complain, but I didn't. So I started thinking about, it was really moving pretty fast. And I started thinking about how fast the line was moving, because we didn't have to stand in one place too long, but it went back and forth many times. You've seen those, maybe some of you, how those lines work. Just like if you go to an amusement park, Six Flags or Disney World or Disneyland. And then it was strange because then the line actually started moving faster. Now, was that a coincidence? I'm not sure. But as I said, whatever you complain about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows in your experience. I was focusing on the line, was moving pretty fast. It was long, but I was thinking, this is moving pretty fast. And I even told the people in front of me, I said, oh, it's a long line, but it's moving along pretty good. For some reason, it started moving even faster. You could say it's a coincidence. Some people say coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. Yeah, who knows? But I do remember that. These times, these things, when I actually practice and cooperate with the laws of the universe, we remember, I remember. And it's good to focus on those because, as I said, whatever you focus on grows. So focus on when you were thinking right and things went right. And then you can think more right or righteously. In the Bible, it talks about righteousness. Now, that has nothing to do with piety. The right thinking is when I think I need to think well about everybody and everything, to look at the bright side, to look at the silver lining in the cloud, because whatever you focus on grows in your experience. So whatever you want more of in your experience, let's say you're short on money, but you're focusing on how much you got. If you're sitting here today and you're watching me on this, you are probably richer than 80% of the people in the world. But it's easy to focus on, I got a flat tire on the car. You have a car. Focus on the fact that you have a car. Or the washing machine broke down. Focus on the fact that you've had a washing machine that can break down. Or your house needs painting. You have a home. It's really all in your perception of how you want to look at things. Change your perception. Change your attitude. Change your thinking. And change your life. Now, it's really that simple, but it's difficult to do because we have habits of ingrained thought within us, and most of them are negative, and most of them are the same things we thought yesterday. Well, guess what? If you think the same thing you thought yesterday, today, you're going to have the same results tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. So how do you change your thinking? You need to have some different input. You need to read some books, listen to audio books, listen to YouTube speakers who have a positive message in the direction of what you desire in life. These things are important. If you're not programming yourself with your agenda, you are being programmed with someone else's agenda. Make no mistake about that. All the advertisements on media, social media, mainline media, billboards, newspapers, wherever, are programming you to be a consumer to someone else's agenda. Now, there's nothing wrong with consuming, of course, but too many of us, especially in the Western world, we consume too much. We have storage sheds here in the U.S., I don't know how many, maybe millions, hundreds of thousands, because people have so many things they can't fit them in their two-car garage or their basement. And many times these things set, I think there's a show on TV, isn't there, about these guys that buy these storage sheds because the people never come back to them. They just leave them set. So we have so many things here because we're so into the materialistic side of things. We think that is success. And maybe that is for some people. But really, we're all looking for fulfillment and happiness. And how many times we buy something thinking that if I get this, I'm going to feel good. Now, we may not consciously think about that, but that's exactly what we're doing. We think if I get this job, if I get this girlfriend, if I get this woman to be my wife, if I get this raise, if I win the lottery, etc., etc., etc. Always looking for something outside of ourselves to fill that emptiness, and it will never happen. No matter what, that can only be filled from the inside. And when you fill it on the inside, your outer world will be a reflection of what's going on in here. So I hope that's been helpful to you. And I'm going to cut it off tonight. Thanks for joining me. And again, thank you to my 1,637 subscribers. Take care. Have a great evening.